You know, it's really amazing to see how much AI is popping up everywhere these days, right? I mean, you see it in all these everyday things like what to watch on Netflix, but then it's also doing these really complex things too, like in healthcare. So today we're going to take a deep dive into AI and healthcare.
Yeah,
We've got a great video here from Med School Insiders and some really thought-provoking articles about AI and how we should think about it as it takes on different roles in our lives.
absolutely. I think a big part of what we really want to uncover is how AI is changing medicine.
Mm.
I mean, the advancements are incredible, but also how our expectations and how we approach AI need to adapt to depending on what it's doing. So if you're listening to this and you're someone who wants to get a good grasp on all this without wading through tons of info,
hmm
this is your one-stop shop to understanding the key takeaways.
Okay, so let's jump into healthcare.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, it really is a revolution happening right now.
Totally. Yeah.
One of the biggest impacts we're seeing is in medical diagnosis. There's this type of AI called convolutional neural networks, CNNs,
Mhm.
that are getting amazingly good at looking at huge amounts of medical images and patient data, and they can see patterns that even the most experienced doctors might miss.
It's incredible how these AI systems
Yeah.
learn, right? Just imagine a CNN looking at hundreds of thousands of images, like learning every tiny little visual clue that points to a certain disease. The Med School Insiders video actually brought up Kawasaki disease.
Hey, D.
Yeah, exactly. KD is a really good example. It can be a really tough one to diagnose early on in kids because the symptoms can be super general.
Yeah, those vague symptoms are the biggest hurdle.
For sure.
But researchers basically created this huge global database of pictures of children with KD, and they used that to train a CNN. The AI that they came up with was able to spot those signs of KD, potentially even from a photo taken on a smartphone.
Wow.
And get this, they found it was really good at correctly identifying the disease when it was there. Yeah, sensitive and also not mistakenly flagging other things as KD. Yes, that's super important,
Absolutely.
especially in places where it's harder to get to a specialist.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage.
It is. I think the takeaway here is that AI's ability to analyze so much data and pick up on these really subtle patterns is like this amazing extra tool.
Yep.
It's not replacing human diagnosis.
Augmenting it.
Exactly,
Right.
especially in these complex areas where there's just so much information.
Absolutely. It's really highlighting that supportive role AI has in medicine. The video really emphasizes that a doctor's expertise and judgment are still absolutely essential. AI is there to enhance their abilities, not to take over. It's that extra layer of in-depth analysis.
Right.
And as you said, in places with limited resources, this kind of AI support could be a game changer, allowing for earlier diagnosis and more focused interventions.
For sure. And it's not just KD. The video mentions how AI is helping to diagnose things like colorectal cancer, lung cancer, and even liver cirrhosis. There was this study they talked about where AI actually did a little bit better than board-certified pathologists
Wow.
in diagnosing colorectal cancer, like 98% accuracy versus 96.9%.
It's pretty impressive, right?
That is a really striking statistic. But it's really important to keep in mind that a small edge, statistically, doesn't take away from all the training and experience that a pathologist brings to the table,
Right.
especially when you're dealing with rare or really complex cases.
Of course.
So beyond diagnosis, AI is also making huge strides in how we approach treatment, particularly in this quickly growing field of personalized medicine,
Yeah.
which is using a person's unique genetic makeup to tailor treatments to them.
Yeah, it's amazing how AI can take all this genetic data and combine it with other things about the patient, like their characteristics, to predict how they might respond to a certain treatment.
Yeah.
The video had this great example about rheumatoid arthritis.
Researchers at the Mayo Clinic actually made an algorithm that uses genetic information to predict how patients will respond to methotrexate.
So,
It's a drug commonly used for rheumatoid arthritis. Think about what that means. Instead of this long process of trial and error to find the right drug, this AI model could help doctors and patients get to the right treatment so much faster,
right.
saving time and resources.
It's about finding that most effective treatment and getting it to the right person at the right time. There are also researchers at Georgia Tech and the Ovarian Cancer Institute who are doing similar work using machine learning to predict how well chemotherapy will work for patients with ovarian cancer. They're getting 90% accuracy, which is amazing.
Wow.
Imagine knowing from the start whether a treatment is likely to work. That could spare patients from going through treatments that aren't going to be effective and all the emotional and financial stress that goes with it.
Absolutely. And the video also talked about AI's potential for predicting chronic diseases. That seems like a huge step forward in preventative care.
Totally.
We're talking about things like diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease. If we can see these risks earlier, we might be able to do something about them. Right. Improve outcomes for patients.
Exactly. A great example of this is diabetes. Researchers are building AI models that can actually estimate a person's current glucose levels.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
based on things like their past readings, their BMI, stress levels, even how they've been sleeping. This kind of real-time insight could really help people manage their blood sugar better.
That's incredible.
Right, it's amazing. And it goes even further. AI is being used to predict who's likely to develop diabetes in the first place based on different risk factors.
Yeah.
If you can find those people early, you can make lifestyle changes or take preventative measures that could really lower their chances of having problems down the road,
Right.
like kidney disease or vision loss.
Absolutely. And this transformation isn't just happening in patient care. AI is also changing how medical research is done, particularly clinical trials. Finding the right people for a clinical trial can take forever and cost a ton of money.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
Researchers have to go through piles and piles of medical records, but AI can come in and quickly pick out the people who fit the criteria for a study.
Yeah,
Makes the whole thing much more efficient.
streamlines it.
Yeah.
And there's also this exciting potential of AI in discovering new drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Traditionally, this has meant a lot of lab work and testing on animals. And sadly, a lot of drugs that look promising end up not working in humans.
Right.
The video mentioned a company called Verge Genomics.
Okay.
They're using AI to analyze data from humans to find potential treatments for ALS. By starting with human data, they're hoping to make clinical trials more successful and avoid those expensive failures that happen with animal models. It's a whole new way of thinking about drug discovery.
It really is. And I was fascinated to learn about how AI is becoming more involved in academic writing, too.
Yeah.
There are tools like ChatGPT that can help researchers write and revise their papers, and platforms like Consensus that can assist with literature reviews and summarizing all the research that's out there.
Those tools definitely have the potential to make research more efficient. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about another important area where AI is having a big impact: making administrative tasks in healthcare more streamlined. It might not be as exciting as diagnosis or treatment, but it's really important for the whole system to run smoothly.
Absolutely. Think about all the routine tasks that healthcare workers and administrators deal with every single day.
Yeah.
The video talked about BotMD, an AI service that can help patients find the right doctors, schedule appointments, and even answer basic questions about their prescriptions. By automating those interactions, AI can free up staff to focus on more complex issues
Right.
and things that are more patient-centered.
Exactly. Even things like medical scribing, which is basically taking detailed notes during consultation.
Right.
Traditionally, you'd need a healthcare provider to write everything down or have a dedicated scribe in the room. But AI can make this much more efficient. These AI systems can understand medical terms in real time and create accurate notes, which saves time and reduces the chance of mistakes.
Right. And we can't forget about all the paperwork that comes with dealing with insurance companies. AI could potentially help with pre-authorizing treatments and making the billing process smoother. The video even suggested that this could help with the problem of physician burnout, which is becoming a bigger and bigger issue.
Absolutely. The video also touched on how AI is being integrated into medical education, which is essential for preparing future healthcare professionals.
Right.
One really cool example is Oscar. It's an Australian company that's created these AI-powered virtual patients that medical students can practice taking histories from. It gives them a safe space to work on their interviewing skills and how they think about diagnosing patients. And it's not just these simulation tools. Universities like Duke and Stanford, or places like Mayo Clinic, they're all offering courses specifically on AI in healthcare now,
Wow.
both for students and doctors who are already practicing. There's a clear understanding that being able to use and understand AI is going to be crucial in the future of medicine.
It's even starting to affect the medical school application process.
That's right.
Something that aspiring doctors definitely need to be aware of. So we've seen this amazing wave of AI innovation in so many parts of healthcare. Now, as AI starts taking on more roles, especially ones that involve interacting with people, it brings us to the second big idea we wanted to talk about today, based on those text excerpts. We need different rules and expectations depending on what role the AI is playing.
Yeah, a one-size-fits-all approach to AI isn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
How we think about and regulate AI should really depend on the type of relationship it's trying to create. Just think about it.
Right.
Our expectations for a helpful customer service chatbot are different from what we'd expect from an AI designed to be a companion.
Right.
Right.
One really insightful idea from the text is this concept of relational norms. It's like these unspoken rules and expected behaviors that we have in different types of human relationships,
Right.
whether it's with a doctor, a friend, a romantic partner, a colleague, or even a parent. These norms help us figure out what's appropriate and what's not in each situation.
And as the text pointed out, all these different types of relationships often have different core functions.
Okay.
There's care, which is about responding to someone's needs without expecting something in return, like a close friendship.
Right.
Then there's transaction, which is about fair exchanges, keeping track of what's owed. We also have mating, romantic and sexual interactions, and hierarchy, which is about authority and learning structures, like the relationship between a teacher and student. Most of our relationships are a blend of these different functions.
Right. The text used the example of someone who's lonely talking to an AI chatbot and sharing their feelings. The bot says, "I'm sorry, but we're going to have to change the topic. I can't talk about your personal life." And that really highlights how important the context of the relationship is.
Yeah.
If that person saw the bot as a potential friend, that response would feel really off-putting. It doesn't meet that expectation of care. But if the AI was designed as like a task-oriented advisor focused on a specific goal, then redirecting the conversation might make more sense.
Exactly. The key point is that the purpose of the AI, the role it's supposed to play, has to dictate the ethical boundaries and the behaviors we expect from it. An AI friend needs different rules than an AI tool.
Absolutely. And the texts also brought up this interesting point about the commercial side of a lot of AI interactions these days. We often pay to use these systems, or we use a free version that has a clear business goal behind it.
Right.
But real friendships aren't usually transactional like that.
Yeah.
In fact, treating a friend like a business deal can really hurt the relationship.
Absolutely.
So this raises a really important question. When an AI is designed to be like a friend or even a romantic partner, but the user knows they're essentially paying for this service, how does that change their feelings and expectations?
It's a complex issue for sure. And it's why it's so crucial for developers, users, and regulators of AI to think beyond just general ethical principles and really dive into these specific relationship contexts and the norms that go with them.
Yeah.
So for developers and designers, that means carefully thinking about whether an AI system can actually do the things that are expected in the relationship it's trying to simulate.
Right.
For example, can a mental health chatbot really be responsive and offer good support?
Yeah.
Does an AI tutor find that right balance between giving guidance and evaluating progress?
Right.
And for us as users, it's about being aware of how we might become emotionally dependent on AI. So there's AI that's designed to be caring, but ultimately has the limitations of its programming.
Absolutely. And for those who are regulating AI, the suggestion in the text is to maybe move away from these broad risk assessments. Like just saying all AI in education is high risk. Instead, they might need to consider the specific context of the relationship and what each AI application is designed to do. For instance, an AI that helps with basic math problems would have different risks than an AI chatbot that offers emotional support to students.
It's about creating more nuanced frameworks that really recognize how unique these human-AI relationships are as they become more common in our lives. We have to carefully think about what we expect from different types of interactions, both with other people and with AI,
Right.
to make sure that these technologies are truly making our lives better.
Absolutely. So to wrap up this deep dive, we've looked at the amazing ways AI is changing healthcare.
Yep.
It has the potential to make diagnoses more accurate, treatments more personalized,
Right.
to improve preventative care, and to make research and administrative tasks more efficient.
Exactly. And we also went into the need to consider the different roles that AI is taking on as it becomes a bigger part of our lives.
Right.
Understanding the norms and expectations of human relationships is key to navigating the ethical considerations of how AI is developed and regulated.
And for you, our listener, having this knowledge about both the incredible applications in healthcare and the ethical considerations allows you to be truly informed about this technology that's changing so rapidly.
So here's something to think about. As AI keeps advancing, and those lines between different relationship roles get blurrier, how should we as individuals and as a society prepare for those changing expectations and responsibilities?
Yeah,
It's a question that has big implications for our future.
absolutely. We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights. We'll
Yeah.
definitely keep exploring these fascinating topics where technology and society intersect in our future discussions.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like to show your support. Got thoughts, questions, or ideas? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe and hit the to stay updated on my latest content. See you in the next video.